Welcome to Radically Rewired, the show where I fuse science and spirituality to give tangible tips to feel more confident, get more clarity, and live your most authentic and fulfilling life. I'm your host, Nicole Novoselsky, a former 9-to-5 desk job gal turned traveling entrepreneur, energy healer, and brain hacking yogi. This podcast is all about how to stop going through the motions and make the most of your human experience here on this earth. So let's learn how to get radically rewired. Recording live from Lake Atitlan, Guatemala. Yes, I am still here in San Marcos La Laguna. This lake is a magical vortex that has sucked me in. I'm living lakefront, so if you hear any waves or any dogs barking, that, my friends, is why. In today's episode, we're going to discuss the lessons I've learned from traveling the world and how you can implement them into your daily life to find more contentment, freedom, and fulfillment without even having to book a flight. You can start to implement these 4 top life lessons while sitting on the couch in your living room. So let's get into it, shall we? The first one is being versus doing. When I was in Chicago, I had a mentor who always told me, Nicole, you're a human being, not a human doing. Because I was in my logical mind all the time, making lists, structuring out my days, and trying to juggle 101 things all of the time. I was trying to produce high quality work, manage a healthy diet, work out, get stronger, volunteer with the local community, have hobbies, maintain a social life, connect with friends, all of the things. Can anyone else relate? I thought I knew the idea of rest, but my mind was racing for the 16 hours I was awake. And the only thing that kind of quieted it was the hour of yoga that I was doing, and if I got a seat home on the train from work. But even then, I was trying to read a book for book club. There was always something. I was always in go, go, go doing mode. I felt that if I didn't work hard and do all the things, then everything would be stagnant and nothing would get done. That I wouldn't really get to my dream ideal happiness and contentment if I didn't jam pack my schedule. The more I did, the more possibility there was for me to be happy. That was my thought process. However, when I traveled to Bali, I instantly noticed that being was the natural state and doing actually took way more effort. People simply sat and enjoyed life without seemingly a care in the world. When I tried to be and do nothing, my mind would take over. I didn't know what to do with myself. It was like I was a sim going from room to room, unsure of what activity to actually do because I couldn't just sit there and do nothing. I would force myself to write newsletters, do yoga, do anything to occupy my time. When I didn't have anything to do, I felt anxious to simply just sit with myself. So the difference with being energy is that nothing is forced. It's simply in flow. It feels natural, it feels blissful, it feels joyful. There's a lightness to life. Being to me is radiating your own natural light and zest. You magnetize opportunities and people to you. It's a flow state where you naturally just are. A being state doesn't mean that you're sitting on the couch all day doing absolutely nothing. It's actually taking the pressure off, aligning with what you truly want, letting the heart speak, and exuding your own joy by simply existing. I feel like in the States where I grew up in Chicago, it was just this idea of being doesn't really exist. There's constant doing, constant going to work and doing personal growth and yoga and all these things. Whereas in Bali, it was that you didn't have to achieve anything. There was no pressure. The being was being yourself and being with family and friends and community, and that's what made life so meaningful instead of trying to achieve things. Doing, to me, is an energy that feels denser. It feels forced. It feels like you're swimming upstream. And so where in your life have you been in a doing energy? And where in your life have you been in a being energy? Think about it. Take some time for a minute and think about where you've actually been showing up in a being energy and a doing energy. And which kind of energy would you say you're in a majority of the time? What would it feel like to consciously shift yourself to a being energy to be in flow a little bit more of the time? So in Bali, being and flow looked like people going a little bit slower on their own time, at their own pace. There was no pressure to get all these things on their to-do list done. It was laughing with friends and family and people on the streets. It wasn't stressing about having to be at an appointment at a certain time. We always talked about Bali time, how people just kind of get there when you get there, island time. And it's smiling, greeting strangers, praying, sitting, taking the pressure off to accomplish. And I'm not saying that having goals is a bad thing. It's great to have goals. It's great to achieve things. However, when that's our main focus, it can be really stressful. We're putting our nervous system under a lot of stress at all times, and we don't get into our parasympathetic nervous system, which is all about resting and digesting. So when it is time to rest, we still feel anxious, and maybe we're having some digestive problems. That's what happened to me. So it's really important to find the balance, to regulate the nervous system, to breathe, to slow down, to meditate, allow things to be in flow just a little bit more, and watch how your life will magnetize in different opportunities. It's really counterintuitive because I am so used to being like, I must do, if I do, then that will equal results. When in actuality, if you actually do nothing and you're fully in flow with yourself, in alignment with where you want to be, people and things and opportunities actually just start to fall into your lap. That's how I've been doing this for 4 years of just traveling full time, because this yoga opportunity came up and this client came in and this and this and this, and then everything just started to snowball in. So trusting that when you are being and in flow a little bit more, that you're actually attracting things in. So I like the imagery of a lazy river. Have you ever been in a lazy river? Imagine that you're kicking and you're thrashing around in a lazy river. It's obviously much more enjoyable when you let go and you just let the water take you around. You're going at a slower pace, but you can enjoy the nature, you can enjoy the surroundings. You're still gonna finish the lazy river, but you don't need to kick so hard. You don't need to swim. You can just allow and be. The energetics of this is that when you're aligned and in your power of what you truly want, you start to easily attract in what it is that you want. If you're trying to find your life partner, sure, you can go on 50 dates if that lights you up and is exciting to you. Or you can simply be and tap into the energy of the person you want to be and trust that it will draw in the person while you're doing what feels exciting and aligned to you. If you're needing help on finding your flow and the delicate balance of doing and being, I have a free mini course for all of my listeners. My Propel to Your Path mini course goes in depth to align your goals with your values and gives you an intuitive action plan to help you be in flow to attract in what you're wanting. To get access to the Propel to Your Path mini course, you can click the link in the description to get started today. The second lesson I've learned while living abroad for 4 years in 4 different countries around the world is the emphasis of community and connection versus money. While living in Chicago, I was immersed in the capitalistic culture of society. My life was centered around my job and making money. I would wake up, get ready, go to work, go to the gym, come home, cook dinner, perhaps chat with a friend or go to some event, and then go to bed. In other cultures, connection and community is first, and the job and making money feels secondary. People walk in the streets saying hi to everyone. They cook for their neighbors and make sure the people close to them are supported and healthy. It's very community focused instead of individualistic. In the States, a lot of people live alone and leave their families after high school. Yes, sure, people have roommates or significant others. But in other countries, specifically Indonesia, Thailand, Mexico, and Guatemala, the 4 countries that I've extensively traveled, people live with their families for longer and their whole family lives together. Siblings, spouses, children, grandparents, everyone. There's this idea of taking care of one another. And by seeing this community-focused lifestyle, I adopted more of it in my life. I stopped putting the emphasis on making money, and I put more energy into building connections that filled me up with other people, but then also the connection to myself so that I can pour from a full cup. This was so crucial in cultivating more abundance. Not only financial abundance, but an abundance of love, of joy, of pleasure, of connection, because it felt like I was making these deep connections and that was making me more creative. I was able to give more to others. I was excited, passionate, blissful. And these simple pleasures became highlights of my day. And it felt like this is what life is truly, truly, truly about. How can you make an effort to connect a little bit more to the people around you? Whether it's people already in your life, your family, your coworkers, your friends, even strangers you meet in passing, the taxi or Uber drivers, waiters, waitresses. Notice how it feels to consciously make more connections in your life. Number 3, and this one relates to the second lesson, they're building on each other, is that mindset equals happiness. I used to think that when I was making a certain amount of money, had a loving spouse and a family of my own and a nice house, then I would be happy. And traveling showed me that that's just a narrative. That's just something that my mind is stuck in. We create these narratives in our heads of what it takes to be happy, when in reality, we get to decide to be happy no matter what situation we are in. It's an inside job. And yes, don't get me wrong, external things can feed the happiness. Of course, it's important to have your basic needs met in order to stabilize your mood. Having intimate connection, nourishing meals, and a roof over your head can be a recipe for happiness. However, I have had beautiful friends, family connections, healthy meals, and a beautiful apartment, yet I was still miserable. So I started to think about, well, then what is the secret ingredient for happiness? If I had all of my needs met, all of the things that I thought was going to make me happy, why was I still miserable? It wasn't until I was traveling and saw people with very little, a small wooden shack with minimal space, not sure where their next meal was going to come from, yet they were still smiling and excited to connect and live their lives. And I remember a lovely local Indonesian friend of mine was worried about her financial situation, and she told me, she's like, you know what, Nicole, I'm going to choose joy, abundance, and happiness. And for the next week, she did meditations, she prayed, she opened her heart to friends and trusted her path. And then after 7 days, she came back to tell me that 3 job opportunities had come her way. And I don't make this up because this is real. I used to not believe in mindset and all of this. I used to think I needed the external things to be my happiness. And then I saw it flipped with all of these people who had way less than me, yet they were way happier than me. And I was like, how? What is this ingredient? And we think that we need to have the checklist, the nice house, the family, the kids, the boat, the money, the whatever it is to be happy. But in reality, it's the opposite. You get to choose your happiness. When you're happy, where you're happy, and it all comes back to presence, to gratitude, to appreciating everything you have when you have it. We're so used to have, do, be. First, we have the money and the items that we want. Then we do the things that we want with these material things, the money and the resources. And then we finally become the person that we want to be, this happy, joyful person. But that is backwards. By traveling, I realized it's actually be, do, have. First, you get into the state you want to be in. Love, joy, gratitude, peace. Then from that state, you do. You take aligned action of whatever feels good. And then you have whatever things you want because you're attracting in those things from a high vibrational state. Try it out. Try out be, do, have, and let me know how that goes for you. This, of course, leads into our fourth and final point of the episode. I can go on and on and on about all this stuff. Thankfully, we'll have lots more episodes, so subscribe to this podcast if you want more episodes, and definitely send it to a friend as well so that you can chat about be, do, have, and all of these techniques and mindfulness tools that I'm teaching you. Our fourth point here is the joy is in the journey. And that might be so cliche, and you might have heard that so many times, and I heard that so many times, and it never really resonated with me. I was in peak misery, and everyone was always like, happiness is an inside job. You choose happiness. Joy is in the journey. La, 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 la. But it never sunk in. I logically understood these things, but I never embodied them or put them into practice. And so I want to talk about this in a way that resonates with you. And I want to give you some tangible tips to actually feel this and put it into practice. We can get so caught up in the trap of, I'll be happy when. I'll be happy when I have more money, when I get that promotion, when I move cities, when I have a loving partner, when I have a baby, whatever it is. And the fact of the matter is that if we keep putting our happiness off, then we look back on our whole life and we think, oh shit, I should have just been happy and taken it all in while I could have, while I still had time. And that life didn't just pass me by and I was just waiting for the next thing. And I don't want this to happen to you. And so the joy truly is in the journey. Sometimes we get to the top of the mountain and we say, oh, that's it? Ups and downs have so much beauty in them as long as we take a second to stop and soak them in. The joy is in the present moment, right here, right now, listening to this. Instead of focusing on what you don't have, can you shift your attention to think about what you currently have in your life? Think about how there's beauty in feeling the full spectrum of emotions. There's resilience in the struggle, that there's fight in you, how you continuously pick yourself up after falling down 9 times. In order to appreciate the journey, we have to come back to the present moment. So finding gratitude for what it is you already have, for how much you have already accomplished, for what you have drawn into your life, from this place, you can then find more joy. And if you're interested in cultivating more joy, I have a free Attitude of Gratitude masterclass for my community. In this masterclass, I'll walk you through a meditation as well as teach you more techniques to cultivate more gratitude and joy in your life. It's super simple to get access. All you have to do is click the link in the description under Attitude of Gratitude Masterclass and sign up. I've got all the free tools for you. So I'm here to help you on your journey, all in the description. I'm just grateful that you're here listening and supporting this podcast. So when you find yourself feeling frustrated and annoyed and feeling like, oh, I just want to get to the next chapter, the next thing, can you come back and find beauty in the present moment, no matter how tough it is, no matter how frustrated and angry and whatever emotions come up, there's so much beauty in the struggle. That's part of your journey, that's part of your story, and it's gonna help you get to the other side. So I wanna go into a neuro nugget, our next segment, to talk about the science in the brain of gratitude and how that will actually help shift you, because I'm all about science and spirituality and fusing them together to actually create change on your path. So let's get into our neuro nugget. Do, 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 do. So 2 psychology professors from Indiana University conducted a study involving 300 students seeking mental health counseling. And they wanted to know that can gratitude actually shift people with lower levels of mental health. So they conducted this study and assigned students to 3 different groups. All groups received counseling, but one group practiced gratitude by writing letters each week about the things that they're grateful for, or writing letters to people that they're grateful for 3 weeks. That's all. And then the other group wrote about negative experiences for 3 weeks. And then the third group didn't do any type of writing activity. They just got counseling. And so the results were fascinating because it revealed that the group of students who practiced gratitude by writing it down reported significantly better mental health with more joy and less anxiety after the study, and 12 weeks post-writing compared to those in other groups. So this suggests that practicing gratitude can enhance mental well-being, not only during the time that you're writing gratitude, but even significantly after you practice gratitude as well, because you're changing the neural pathways in your brain. And this helps even with people struggling with their mental health. And so I want us to take this study, this little neuro nugget, and put it into a brain hack of the day. So what can you actually do with this information and all of these tips, and take it and run with it in your everyday life? So here's our next segment, brain hack of the day, brain hack of the day. So of course, the brain hack of the day is going to be slowing down, taking a big deep inhale with me, slowly exhaling, and then coming back to the present moment. We can do our 5 senses exercise. What are some beautiful things that you see in front of you and around you? What do you hear? What can you feel? What can you smell in the air around you? What can you taste? And coming to these 5 senses, it'll ground yourself into the present moment. And then once you're grounded, you can take some time to think about all of the things that you're grateful for in your life. It can be small things like being able to take a breath in this moment, having time to listen to this podcast, specific friendships that you have, the money that you currently have in your bank account, even if it isn't the same number that you want it to be. Finding gratitude for the money that you do have, the certain freedoms that you have in your life, the smile a stranger gave you on the street, anything from big or small, whatever it is, finding things that you feel so grateful for. Write it down. And if you're on a kick, you can write 3 things you're grateful for, and you can even write a letter of gratitude to yourself or someone special in your life. You don't have to share it with them if you don't want to, but writing it down and getting into the feelings of gratitude, that's what's going to help you. I don't know if anyone's into Dr. Joe Dispenza, but he talks about head and heart coherence. And head and heart coherence is so important. So not only thinking about gratitude, but feeling the gratitude in our body. And so that's why we meditate. That's why we write down the gratitude. That's why we really take in what this gratitude means to us. And this is an activity that I walk you through during my Attitude of Gratitude Masterclass. So if you're wanting more gratitude, more guidance, definitely sign up for the Masterclass. It is free using the link in the description. I'm just here to try and give you all of the tools to help you on your journey because I know how much it's helped me. And so I want to send it off to you to support you on your journey. So we talked about a lot. So let's get into our fulfillment fast track to summarize it all up. We've got first things first, being versus doing. Recognize the balance between being and doing in your life. Being is a more natural, joyous, unforced state, while doing can feel like there's pressure, there's stress, there's anxiety. So can you do? You can still do. I'm not saying just like lay flat your whole life. You can still do, but from a more aligned, peaceful, and excited place. Can you consciously shift to a being energy to allow life to flow in a little bit more naturally? Number 2, connection and community over the individualistic lifestyle. So of course, we love our alone time and filling up our own cup, but can you consciously cultivate some deep connections for abundance in love, fulfillment, and joy? Can you start to consciously cultivate these in your everyday life? Calling up friends that you care about, calling up family, being kinder to coworkers and people in your circle and your sphere, and just showing up from this community-focused way of how can I connect to people? How can I connect to myself? And showing up in this energy that's more abundant of giving love and then being open to receiving that love as well. Number three, mindset equals happiness. Now, challenge the narrative that external achievements will guarantee your happiness, because sometimes they won't. You might get to the top of the mountain and be like, okay, why am I here? It's all about the mindset of, can you enjoy yourself as you get there? And then can you choose happiness every step of the way? It's an inside job appreciating the present moment. Shift from the have, do, be mindset to the be, do, have for a high vibrational state. So be the person you want to be first, then do the things that that person would do, and then you'll attract in and have the things that you want to have. Number 4, the joy is in the journey. Avoid the trap of, I'll be happy when, and appreciate the present. Can you find beauty in the ups and downs of life, embracing the journey, cultivating gratitude for what you have, leading to more joy in the present moment? And then number 5, practicing gratitude can significantly improve your mental well-being no matter what mental state you're in. Ground yourself in the present moment by taking a big deep breath, observing your surroundings, and focusing on gratitude. Write down things you're grateful for and observe the positive shift in your feelings. So thank you so much for joining me on Radically Rewired today to continue the beautiful journey of exploration and self-discovery with me. Hit that subscribe button and sign up for my newsletter to get notified about my newest episodes. You can sign up with the link in the description. If you enjoyed this podcast, I would be so appreciative if you could share it with some friends and write a smashing review. Your reviews, kind words, and shares help create a positive ripple effect in the world to expand to the amount of people who will have the opportunity to take these words and lessons and connect deeper to themselves and share their own light. I'm so grateful that you're here taking another step toward living a life that feels extraordinary. I can't wait to see you in the next episode. This episode was made possible by the generous support of my sponsor, Amplify Your Voice. For more detailed episode notes and all of the resources mentioned today, head on down to the description. Each episode of Radically Rewired is a step toward getting off autopilot and soaring towards your dreams. Let's continue this transformative journey together, my friends. Until next time, keep rewiring, keep thriving, keep shining. Bye.